The last day of the year is not, as most people believe, simply a page falling off the calendar. Rather, from a conscious perspective, it is a rare threshold moment where the weight of the past and the uncertainty of the future are felt simultaneously. The mind's usual defense mechanisms relax, and awareness becomes more permeable than ever. The brain perceives this time not as an ordinary day, but as the completion of a cycle. And this perception, even if we are unaware of it, begins to reorganize our way of thinking, our decisions, and even our sense of identity. If successful and peaceful people have one thing in common, it is that instead of unconsciously wasting these moments, they use them as turning points. For example, many scientists, entrepreneurs, and strategic thinkers use the last day of the year not to set new goals, but first to close old mental burdens, silence unfinished inner monologues, and clarify thought patterns they no longer wish to carry, because they know that true progress begins not with adding something new, but with getting rid of what is no longer useful. Neuroscience clearly supports this. The brain's default mode network, the region preoccupied with thoughts about the past and future, becomes more active during symbolic transitional moments like the end of the year. This facilitates self-reflection and a holistic assessment of one's life. Successful individuals, instead of making hasty decisions, quietly pause during these moments, observe, and undergo inner purification, because this pause prepares the mental ground for the coming year. From a quantum field perspective, these threshold moments gain even greater significance, because at the quantum level, no system remains static. Everything vibrates in probabilities and only collapses into a particular state under specific conditions. Just like human consciousness, the last day of the year creates a moment when the mind transitions from an old probability distribution to a new superposition, where the past identity and the yet-to-be-born new identity coexist simultaneously. From a conscious perspective, this moment allows the individual to consciously choose which probability to collapse into. When you look at people who have truly found peace in life, you see that they don't constantly chase after more. Instead, they focus on eliminating things that disrupt inner harmony. These people don't fill the last day of the year with noise. They calm their minds because they know that calmness and clarity stem not from external circumstances, but from a reduction in internal turmoil. And that when this clarity is achieved, goals become more realistic, more achievable, and more meaningful. For those who live by scientific thinking, this threshold is no accident. Many researchers and strategic planners say that long-term success comes not from momentary bursts of motivation, but from conscious pauses at the right times. Because systems, whether a company, a mind, or a life, can only truly be optimized when you step back and see the big picture, and the last day of the year offers a natural opportunity for this retreat. Therefore, before asking, "What do I want next year?" one should ask, "What do I no longer want to carry?" Because in the quantum realm, a new order cannot be established without the old noise being reduced. As thoughts, feelings, and habits simplify, the mind settles into more stable frequencies, creating a more consistent life on both psychological and behavioral levels. Consequently, the last day of the year is not a void to be avoided, but a transition point that, when used correctly, can silently but profoundly change the course of life. Those who consciously manage this phase enter the new year not only with new goals, but also with a clearer mind, a calmer nervous system, and a more consistent inner compass. This is why true success begins to take shape in those who learn to do nothing at this moment when time is running out. 2. The brain's silent reset. There's a truth that science has long stated, but which most people don't realize. Hours before the end of the year, the brain, much like an operating system running in the background, begins to shut down the past cycle and make room for a new narrative. This isn't a dramatic reset. It's silent, invisible, but extremely effective because the mind takes the symbolic closures of time seriously and perceives them as a signal for reorganization at the biological, emotional, and cognitive levels. From a neuroscience perspective, this process is explained by a shift in the relationship between the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. While the hippocampus classifies and stores past memories, the prefrontal cortex focuses on the question of what happens next. And in the final hours of the year, a kind of handover occurs between these two systems, meaning the brain sends itself the message, "I've made sense of what happened. Now it's time to set direction." Most people who have achieved consistent success in life intuitively utilize this biological shift. For example, it's known that leaders managing large projects, scientists, or entrepreneurs pursuing long-term strategies, instead of writing new goal lists in the final days of the year, first perform completion rituals. This is because opening a new goal before closing unfinished mental files creates unnecessary noise in the brain and reduces the quality of decision-making. This silent reset of the brain is also directly related to stress chemistry. Cortisol levels naturally tend to decrease in many people as the end of the year approaches, because when the conscious mind receives the message that a cycle is complete, the perception of threat temporarily decreases, allowing the mind to think from a broader perspective. This is why people can confront internal questions they wouldn't normally dare to ask on the last nights of the year. To express it using a quantum field metaphor, this moment is similar to a phase transition where the brain's probability field expands. Thought patterns that have repeated throughout the year are locked at a certain frequency, but at this threshold moment, the system temporarily becomes unstable, meaning old habits are broken. The new order has not yet been fixed, and it is precisely in this interval that conscious awareness can guide which thought will collapse into reality. This is where the difference between successful people emerges. While most people suppress this reset with noise, escapism, and distractions, those who truly progress consciously maintain this silence. For example, it's no coincidence that many scientists prefer to stay away from screens and be alone in the last hours of the year, because the brain needs internal regulation more than external stimuli during this period. And when this need is met, mental clarity naturally increases. In psychology, this is called cognitive closure. The mental completion of a period allows for healthier processing of new information, and when this closure doesn't occur, a person unconsciously carries old emotions, old fears, and old decision-making patterns into the new year, then asks, "Why is nothing changing?" When it's not the world that doesn't change, but the mind that hasn't been reset. Therefore, the most powerful thing to do in the hours leading up to the end of the year is not to think more, but to make room for less. Sitting quietly, noticing the sentences swirling in the background of the mind, seeing which thoughts are no longer functional and releasing them without forcing them, supports the brain's natural reset process. And this support ensures that the resolutions made on the first day of the new year are much more firmly grounded. In conclusion, the silent reset of the brain is not a mystical ritual, but a biological and cognitive reality. Those who realize this reality enter the new year not only calendar-wise, but also mentally. And this is where the real transformation begins. While the external world has not yet changed, the internal narrative changes. And when the internal narrative changes, the possibilities offered by the quantum field naturally begin to appear at a different frequency. 3. Why does consciousness become more open in the last 24 hours? The last 24 hours of the year are not simply a time when the calendar page is about to be turned. They are an extraordinary window of opportunity for consciousness and can be explained in a way that aligns with the subtle textures of both quantum physics and psychology. In the quantum world, particles only reveal their existence when observed with a certain probability. This is a fundamental uncertainty that creates a realm beyond the classical understanding of physics, where observation itself shapes reality. Human consciousness functions like an observer at this point. In the final hours of the year, on the cusp of a cycle yet to close, the mind is somewhat freed from the burdens of the past, and thoughts about the future begin to fluctuate like quantum probabilities. From a psychological perspective, the brain becomes more open and sensitive during this critical period, thanks to both natural fluctuations in hormone levels and the subtle processing of experiences accumulated subconsciously throughout the year. As cortisol and adrenaline levels drop in the final days of the year, neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin provide mental clarity and emotional resilience, making it possible to reevaluate past decisions and see future plans more clearly. In other words, the brain enters a natural awareness enhancement mode, and both analytical and intuitive processes are simultaneously activated. Another element that enhances the transformative power of this period is related to the psychological framing effect of experiences. When the failures, losses, small victories, and unforgettable memories of the past year accumulate in the mind, the last 24 hours act as a catalyst, as if all this accumulation gains meaning. One can briefly step away from the chaos of the past and see life's patterns from a broader perspective. This perceptual expansion supports the capacity for awareness of possible paths provided by quantum uncertainty beyond classical intuition. This is especially true when the shadows left in the subconscious by missed opportunities and unresolved issues throughout the year become more prominent. Unconsciously, the mind expends more energy to illuminate these shadows. The focus of attention broadens, thoughts become clearer, and intuition strengthens. Scientists, particularly through studies of neuroplasticity, are revealing that the brain exhibits surprising resilience to last-minute changes, and even a slight shift in awareness can significantly alter the course of life. Thinking in quantum metaphor, these 24 hours are like a space where probabilities converge and haven't yet collapsed into reality. When people consciously direct their thoughts, intentions, and plans during this time, mental energies intervene in these unstable probabilities, creating an effect as if reweaving the fundamental fabric of life. Therefore, historically, great leaders, philosophers, and scientists have practiced rituals of silence, meditation, or self-reflection in the final days of the year, because this creates a space where consciousness operates at its highest frequency, and intuitive and logical processes simultaneously reach their peak. In conclusion, the last 24 hours are much more than a simple chronological passage. It is a quantum field-like space where human consciousness brings together both the wisdom of the past and the potential of the future. Those who become aware of this process not only count the hours, but also shape their consciousness, emotions, and intentions within this special time frame, opening the doors to transformation as the year draws to a close. Therefore, these hours are important because the seeds of the coming year are sown in these moments of silent awareness. 4. The silent door that 90% of people miss. For most people, the final hours of the year seem like just a time of fun, countless countdowns, and the popping of champagne corks. Lights flicker, music plays at full volume, and applause echoes in the air. But a careful observer might notice a silent door ajar just behind the noise of the crowd. An open door for those who don't see time as merely a chronological passage. Most people fail to see this door because of the intense distractions created by the fast pace of life and social rituals. For them, the last day of the year remains only a line between end and beginning. Yet the inner door is a passageway through which the mind and soul silently open, shedding the burdens of the past and observing the possibilities of the future. Psychologically, the brain enters a reset mode at this critical moment. For a short time, all external stimuli are pushed aside and attention turns inward. Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience research shows that meditation and mindfulness practices maximize intuitive intelligence at these moments, thanks to the harmony they create in the brain's prefrontal cortex. In short, a person who can pause and look inward not only experiences awareness of the present moment, but also facilitates the processing of experiences and emotional intensity accumulated throughout the year. This door is very similar to the quantum space where uncertain possibilities coexist, invisible from the outside. But when an introspective observer notices it, possibilities are set in motion, and opportunities arise for personal reality to take on a new form. Awareness is the key to this door. Silence is the corridor through which the inner light passes. Scientists have proven that in these moments, an individual's mental clarity increases, their emotional intelligence strengthens, and their decision-making mechanisms operate with extraordinary speed and accuracy, and that this has both psychological and biological foundations. In short, the final hours of the year are a threshold where not only the calendar pages, but also consciousness is transformed. Those who choose to turn inward and pass through the silent door seize the opportunity to rewrite not just one day, but the next year of their lives. Moving beyond entertainment, winking at silence, and passing through this door allows for realignment with both an internal and a universal connection. Therefore, those who notice this silent door can experience peace, purpose, and conscious transformation in their lives. A space overlooked by 90% of the majority yet accessible to those who turn to silence. 5. Confronting the past, not letting go. In the final days of the year, most people adopt a superficial approach of letting go of the past, forgetting old mistakes, or erasing bad memories from their minds. This is a simple expression of the cliché, "forget the past," that regains popularity every year. However, neuroscience and quantum psychology suggest the opposite. Ignoring or suppressing the past means that the brain and body are still energetically and neurologically connected to these experiences. That is, our subconscious continues to carry the echoes and emotional weight of past events, even if we are unaware of it. The brain is structured not only to recall memories, but also to process and organize them. The complex interactions between the prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and hippocampus are highly conducive to reprocessing and integrating the missing emotional and cognitive fragments of the past, especially at this critical point in the year. This process is not just a mental act, but also occurs through a synchronized reorganization of energy levels, hormones, and neural connections. In other words, when an old resentment isn't forgotten, even if acknowledged and resolved, it continues to ripple in our personal space like energy blocks in a quantum process. However, a resolved memory opens up space for a new possibility, both mentally and physically, creating the void that will contribute to the experiences of the coming year. This is where conscious awareness comes in. Reviewing and energetically releasing every moment of the past means neurologically recoding that memory, easing emotional burdens, and realigning the mental framework. This process, achieved through meditation, writing, ritual, or silent observation, is possible thanks to the brain's flexible structure. Thus, not only your mind, but also your body, heart, and even your energy network with your environment are cleansed of the shadows of the past. Therefore, letting go of the past in the last days of the year is not an escape, but a process of resolution. Understanding, neurologically and energetically shutting down, and consciously processing old memories, events, and relationships allows us to experience not only the new year, but also the rest of our lives in a productive and balanced way. This method goes beyond classical motivational approaches, bridging the gap between science and consciousness and demonstrating that the past is not merely a burden, but a transformable source of energy. 6. Why do most New Year's rewards fail? At the beginning of each year, millions of people set intentions as a kind of spiritual and mental ritual. This year, I will be healthy. I will save more. I will start my own business. But the statistics are surprising. Research shows that approximately 80% of these intentions fail by the end of the year. This stems not just from a lack of willpower, but from a deeper scientific truth about the fundamental workings of the brain and the universe. When intentions are only expressed verbally or in writing, they lack the structural support necessary for the brain and conscious system to transform them into a concrete action plan. People set their intentions, but often unresolved energies from the past and subconscious obstacles sabotage them. Another reason for the failure of intentions is related to the nature of time. When we consider the brain as an organ that processes energy and information at the quantum level, quantum physics and the uncertainty principle show that the outcomes of a system are shaped not only by the initial intentions, and observations, but also by the collective vibration of all the interacting particles and consciousnesses. When we look at the planning strategies of successful people, we see that they not only set intentions, but also consider environmental and mental obstacles, breaking them down into small, measurable steps. For example, Elon Musk supports his goals with concrete engineering and financial plans. Marie Kondo achieves mental clarity by organizing her living spaces. Stephen Hawking builds his scientific discoveries over the years with a disciplined routine. All these examples show that intention alone is not enough. Without a system and conscious structure to support the intention, its energy dissipates. Another dimension of why many of our intentions fail is psychological. The human brain has a natural tendency to resist change. This mechanism, called homeostasis, constantly tries to maintain existing habits and energy. Therefore, New Year's resolutions often conflict with old thought patterns and behavioral cycles. However, awareness and conscious observation are critical tools for breaking these cycles. When quantum science and neuroscience come together, we see that a mental space that supports intentions can be created. Conscious awareness resolves the effects of the past, redirecting energy and attention to a new field of possibility. Successful people, when setting intentions, don't just focus on the future. They also balance the energy of the past. This process involves neurologically and energetically shutting down old mistakes and unfinished experiences, so that the brain and consciousness are ready to move forward with fresh energy in the new year. From a quantum field theory perspective, maintaining intentions depends not only on individual willpower, but also on interaction with the universe's information and energy networks. Imagine that intention creates a vibration that spreads in waves in your brain and the energy field around you, in your body, and among the consciousnesses around you. When this vibration is not sufficiently focused and supported, it is disrupted and the intention does not manifest. Therefore, simply setting an intention in the first hours of the year is not enough. Actions that support your intention, small but determined steps, resolving the past and consciously redirecting energy, are necessary. Successful individuals turn this process into a ritual. Morning meditation, mental visualization, planned actions, and feedback loops align their intentions with the universal field. From a quantum perspective of recurring consciousness and energy fields, these rituals transform intention into a tangible wave function in the realm of possibilities. In other words, intention vibrates not as a possibility, but as a potentially realized reality. As a result, most New Year's intentions fail because people don't systematically prepare to support their intentions. They don't unravel the energy of the past. They don't transform their intentions into concrete actions, and they don't organize their energy fields with conscious awareness. Successful people, however, transform their intentions not as a starting point, but as a harmonious note in a universal symphony. They unravel the past, focus attention, plan steps, and direct energy at the quantum level. Therefore, New Year's intentions are not merely set. When consciousness, energy, and action unite, they open the door to peace, balance, and true transformation in the rest of one's life. The chapter concludes, leaving the reader with the thought, your intentions are not just words. When combined with the unraveled energy of the past, they can transform into real waves that take shape in the quantum field and transform your life. 7. The last hour ritual. The only thing to do in the moment. For most people, the last hours of the year are seen only as a time for fun, parties, or countdowns. However, from a scientific and conscious perspective, these hours are a rare window of transformation that can change the course of life. Quantum theory reminds us that the universe is never static. Every observation, every moment of awareness shapes possibilities. And as consciousness intensifies, waves of potential reality begin to materialize. Therefore, a simple but effective ritual to be performed in the last hours of the year does not remain merely a mystical idea. It transforms into a practice aligned with science, psychology, and energy regulation. The essence of this ritual is to give your full attention to the present moment. Conscious breathing, body and mind awareness, setting aside all the burdens of the past and the uncertainties of the future for a short time. This is where a principle that successful individuals have practiced for years comes into play: the power of being in the moment. Renowned author Eckhart Tolle and neuroscience research show that being in the moment reshapes the brain's neural networks, reduces stress hormones, and optimizes decision-making mechanisms. This simple practice helps solidify your intentions for the rest of the year. It's incredibly simple to do. Sit or stand, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, imagine releasing a burden from the past, old resentments, regrets, unfinished stories. With each breath, invite the possibilities and opportunities that the new year will bring. Scientifically speaking, this moment of awareness brings your brain waves to alpha and theta frequencies. These are the frequencies associated with learning, memory, and creative problem solving. Thus, you prepare for new beginnings not only mentally, but also biologically. This is where the quantum perspective comes in. Quantum physics states that the observer influences the system and that probability waves are shaped by consciousness. The last-minute ritual transforms you from a passive observer into the quantum driver of your own life. Every thought, every intention, when combined with consciousness, rearranges energy and possibilities. Therefore, the brevity of the ritual is deceptive. A few minutes of conscious awareness can influence the full potential of the rest of the year. The examples of successful people offer important guidance here. Many leaders and scientists use the final days of the year solely for planning and evaluation. Steve Jobs, in his annual review ritual, would silently review his successes and failures and set the most strategic goals for the coming year. Similarly, from a quantum consciousness perspective, this ritual creates an energy cycle focused on the future by dissolving energy from the past. Each breath creates a conscious wave function. Each thought embodies waves of possibility, thus fully opening your mind and energy for success and transformation in the first hours of the new year. When you complete the ritual, open your eyes for a few seconds and feel the silence around you. In this moment, imagine you are connecting with an energy as old as the light of the stars. Feel yourself surrounded by the knowledge of the past, the future, and the quantum universe. This awareness makes every step you take on the first day of the year more conscious, more balanced, and more effective. Ultimately, this single, short, but profound ritual in the final hours of the year becomes not just a moment of transition, but a gateway that can transform the rest of your life by dissolving the past, supporting your intentions, and increasing conscious awareness. And remember, this door only opens to those who want to see it and know how to stop and take a deep breath. Otherwise, it will just be a countdown clock, and time will quickly slip away. 8. Changing your identity. Before the new year, changing your identity isn't as simple as changing clothes. It means reprogramming your existence, your perceptions, and the fundamental framework of your conscious being. The method successful people and conscious leaders have practiced for years relies on a holistic transformation of their identity, going beyond superficial intentions. Who are you? What energy do you carry? And how do you align that energy with the possibilities the new year will bring? The brain acts as a central hub for habits and identity patterns. Your neural networks have charted their own unique paths over the years. However, science, particularly neuroscience and quantum consciousness research, shows that identity is not rigid and can be shaped by consciousness. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff's OER core theory reveals that the conscious process vibrates at a quantum level within microtubules, and that consciousness interacts with a field beyond mere neuronal firing. Therefore, your identity is not limited by the physical structure of your brain. It can be continuously reorganized through a network of energy and information connected to the quantum field. Consciously utilizing this space before the new year helps you liberate your identity from old patterns. A simple practice is to imagine yourself as the protagonist of a story, but this story isn't just a list of behaviors. For example, projects you constantly postponed throughout the past year, conflicts in relationships, or self-imposed limitations are energies that no longer belong to you. By resolving these at the quantum level of your mind, you can consciously shut down your old identity and open a new energy field. This isn't just about saying, "I will be more disciplined now." It's about ensuring that discipline becomes a natural part of your new identity. Successful individuals have been consciously practicing this method for years. An entrepreneur, in the final days of the year, reassesses not only their business goals, but also their identity. I am no longer a risk-averse person. I am an opportunity-creating, creative, and determined person. This sentence isn't just a statement. It creates a real restructuring in the brain's neurological networks and energy field. From a quantum consciousness perspective, this intention resonates with the universe's probability waves and contributes to the materialization of possible realities through conscious observation. The ritual's effect is further enhanced when supported by a deep mindfulness practice. You can sit in a quiet room, close your eyes, and become aware of your body and mind. Imagine all the memories, behavioral patterns, and energies from your old identity. Slowly release them from your mind and body, like a cloud. Then, clearly feel your new identity, a more patient, more creative, more focused, or more loving you. This is like a quantum-level recoding. It resonates not only in your mind, but also in your body, your energy field, and your networks of possibilities. Another dimension of this process is interaction with the collective consciousness. Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious and modern quantum consciousness theories suggests that individual identity change can also affect other lives and energy fields through networks of consciousness. Therefore, when you transform your own identity, your environment, your relationships, and even the possibilities in your life adapt to this energy shift. In the new year, not only your own life, but also the small micro-universes around you respond to the change. In conclusion, the final hours of the year offer a unique opportunity to redefine your identity. This isn't just a process of decisions and actions, it's a transition at a conscious level. If you open this door silently and consciously, when the new year arrives, you will not only be a free individual, freed from old habits, but you will also step into your new life as a conscious and energetic being, in harmony with the possibilities of the universe. True transformation begins in this identity transition. Everything is built upon this foundation. 9. The hidden effect of the first hour. For most people, the first hours of the new year are seen as celebrations, champagne pops, and momentary exhilaration. However, scientific and conscious research shows that these hours have a much deeper impact, creating a reference point that the mind and subconscious will use throughout the year. The brain operates according to habit cycles and subconscious records. The internal codes of each moment, especially when perceived with intense awareness, create new connections in neural networks, strengthen synapses, and lay the groundwork for future behavior. In psychology literature, this is called the predictor or reference point effect. A person bases all their subsequent choices on the information they first perceive and internalize. The first hours of the new year, much like the startup moment of a software program, reset the mind's database and bring to the forefront the intentions or energies you have consciously set. From a quantum consciousness perspective, this time period is not just a psychological reference point. It also creates ripples in the fields of possibility. Quantum theorists demonstrate that conscious observation has the capacity to embody possible realities. In other words, when you focus your mind and intentions in a specific way in the first moments of the new year, you open the door for not only yourself, but also the universe to attune to this energy. This shows that through a combination of quantum entanglement and probability principles, even a small intention can create long-lasting effects. A silent synchronization begins between the firing of your neurons, the codings of the subconscious, and the probability waves of the universe. Brain sciences, especially neuroscience research, support the effects of this process. In the first hours of the new year, memory and attention centers show a high level of alertness. The prefrontal cortex plays a critical role in planning intentions and connecting them to goals. The amygdala provides mental clarity by temporarily pushing anxieties and negative emotions into the background. This combination offers a unique opportunity to create a new point of reference. If you focus consciously, these first hours can lay the foundation for your behaviors, choices, and energy patterns throughout the year. But does this process only work on an individual level? No. The human brain also functions as a social organ. Just as observation in quantum fields affects the entire system, a conscious group, family, or circle of friends can also create effects in the collective consciousness. If you spend the first hours of the new year not only setting your own intentions, but also aligning with those around you, you optimize both your own point of reference and the collective energy field around you. This shows that one person's intention can indirectly shape the behavior and experiences of others. The subconscious mind has a particularly open door during these hours. Neurons, with the support of the prefrontal cortex and limbic system, temporarily suspend the burdens of the past and become ready to accept new patterns. Therefore, planning done in the last days of the old year, and setting intentions, and focusing in the first moments of the new year should be seen not only as temporary motivation, but also as long-term neurological reprogramming. The sensitivity of the mind during this period removes you from automatic behavioral cycles and allows you to synchronize the probability waves of the universe with conscious choices. Furthermore, research in the quantum field confirms the effects of intention in the physical world. Masaru Emoto's experiments with water crystals, or similar studies on consciousness and energy, demonstrate that observation or focus can alter the structure of matter and the form of energy. In the first hours of the new year, the point of reference established by the mind and subconscious can create a resonant effect that influences the entire year, both psychologically and energetically. This makes it possible for every heartbeat, breath, and mental intention to transform into a vibrational wave that can shape future events. Therefore, experts recommend that you stop viewing the first hours of the year as just an ordinary celebration. Spending a few minutes in silence, taking deep breaths, clearly formulating your intentions in your mind, and feeling your energy field during this time can be a critical step in activating the full potential of the new year. Consider this. Every thought and intention, like a probability wave of a particle at the quantum level, radiates and shapes the experiences of the coming year. Even if you are unaware, this process leaves a silent but powerful impact on the probability matrix of the universe. In short, from the perspective of the subconscious and quantum consciousness, the first hours of the year are not just a new beginning, but a critical moment in which the entire year is shaped. The reference point of the mind and subconscious is determined at this moment. Neuroscientific, psychological, and quantum mechanisms show that this reference point will affect the entire year. Therefore, spending these hours consciously, quietly, and focused is a unique opportunity to consciously direct peace, success, and energy into your life. When you seize this opportunity, the new year ceases to be merely a change on the calendar. This marks the beginning of a profound transformation at the conscious level, in your energy field, and in every area of your life. 10. If you've watched this video, you're no longer in the same year. The clock ticked, the rhythm of your breath changed. Your heart felt both the lightness and the profound silence of leaving the old year behind. The moment you watched this video, whether you were aware of it or not, you freed yourself from the old points of reference that saw you only as a line in time. You are no longer in the same year. Consciousness, body, and quantum possibilities came together. You paused in a unique moment of awareness and listened to the voice of the universe. And at that very moment, the flow of your entire life subtly, silently, but irreversibly changed. Don't think of this as a metaphor. Science and consciousness research show that every moment of awareness, especially when combined with intention and attention, leaves lasting imprints on the fabric of the mind, brain, and universe. Now, your mind is freed from the weight of the old year. You have built a silent bridge between the chaos of the past and the uncertainty of the future. The past is no longer just a memory, but a dissolved fabric, an energy pattern, and you are the one who will shape your future. This is not just a psychological feeling. From the perspective of neuroscience, quantum science, and energy fields, it is a reality in harmony with everything in the universe, from the smallest particles to the largest galaxies. Consider this. Your mind established a point of reference in the first hour of the new year. Your subconscious charted a path to the future. Quantum possibilities began to vibrate at this new frequency. You are now a consciousness that transcends the limitations of the old year. Every glance, every breath, every thought sows the seeds of new life, leaving behind the traces of the past. Fears, old patterns, doubts, and old stories no longer define you. They are merely shadows, and you have become a conscious creator choosing the light. And feel this in profound silence. You no longer allow clocks, calendars, or the expectations of others to limit you as before. Your existence now moves in harmony with the vast fabric of time in the universe. Every thought is a vibration, every choice a wave, and every awareness a point of light. The moment you watch this video, your mind has detached itself from the old timeline. Your field of consciousness has expanded, and you are no longer in the same year. Be aware of this silent yet powerful transformation. Every step you take in the new year will leave a mark on the fabric of life. Every breath will create a leap in your consciousness and energy level, and you will no longer be merely a reflection of the past and future, but the conscious creator of your own life. The monotony of time no longer limits you. You exist in the unique rhythm of possibilities, awareness, and the universe. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and feel what passes through you. This moment, this second, is the silent but irreversible sign of your transition from the old year to the new. You are now in a different year, with a different consciousness and a different life. And from now on, everything will be shaped by your conscious intentions. You are no longer in the old year. Now you are creating your own time,